Good evening, Team Wishy Washy. Are y'all getting a little tired of staying home? I saw where some people are posting themselves reading children's stories, so we're going to read an adult story tonight. Not adult like trashy novel, just like not for children, it's for us. It's a bicycle story. It's called The Two-Wheeled ATV by Patrick McManus. Pat McManus is my favorite author. You might think like I do like the Bronte sisters and all kinds of classic literature, but Patrick McManus is my all-time favorite. So, settle in with, something to drink. You don't have to tell me what's in the cup. I won't tell you what's in mine. Might make the story better. So here we go. You guys ready for this? The Two-Wheeled ATV. My first all-terrain vehicle was a one-wheel drive, and it could take you anywhere you had the nerve and guts to pedal it. Most of the other kids around had decent, well-mannered bicycles of distinct makes and models. Mine was a balloon-tired monster born out of wedlock, halfway between the junkyard and the second-hand store. Some local fiend had built it with his own 3 hands and sold it to my mother for about the price of a good milk cow. For 2 cents or even a used jawbreaker, I would have beaten it to death with a baseball bat, but I needed it for transportation. And transportation, then as now, was the name of the game. You could walk to some good fishing holes all right, but when the guys you were with all rode bikes, you had to walk pretty fast. Perhaps the worst thing about the bike, as I called it, within hearing range of my mother, was that you simply could not ride it in a manner that allowed you to retain any sense of dignity, let alone savoir-faire. The chief reason for this was that the seat was permanently adjusted for a person about 6'4", and I was a person about 5'4". The proportions of the handlebars suggested strongly that they had been stolen from a tricycle belonging to a 4-year-old midget. The result of this unhappy combination was that wherever I went on the bike, my rear was always about 3 inches higher than my shoulder blades. I tried never to go anywhere on the bike where girls from school might see me, since it was difficult, if not impossible, in that position to maintain the image I was cultivating among them as a dashing, carefree playboy. The seat on the bike was of the kind usually found on European racing bikes. The principle behind the design of this seat is that the rider goes to beat hell the sooner to get off it. The idea for heel and toe walking races was conceived by someone watching the users of these particular seats footing it back home after a race. To get the proper effect of one of these seats, you might spend a couple hours sitting balanced on the end of a baseball bat, the small end. Put a doily on it for cushioning. Whatever the other guys thought of my appearance on the bike, they had respect for me. I was the fastest thing around on 2 wheels, thanks to that seat. The bike had a couple of little tricks it did with its change that the Marquis de Sade would have envied. One was that it would wait until you had just started down a long, steep, curving hill, and then reach up with its chain and wind your pant leg into the sprocket. This move was doubly ingenious, since the chain not only prevented you from putting on the coaster brakes, it also shackled you to the hurtling death machine. Many was the time that a streamlined kid streaked silently past cars, trucks, and motorcycles on grades where a loose roller skate could break the sound barrier. The bike's other trick was to throw the chain off when you needed it most. This usually happened when you were trying to outrun one of the timber wolves the neighbors kept for watchdogs. You would be standing up pedaling for all you were worth, leaving a trail of sweat and burned rubber 2 inches wide on the road behind you. The wolf would be a black snarl coming up fast to your rear, and then the chain would jump its sprocket and drop you with a crunch on the crossbar, the pedals still spinning furiously under your feet. The wolf gnawed on you until you got the chain back on the sprocket, or until he got tired and went home. The standard method for getting off the bike was to spring clear and let it crash. If it got the chance to grab you by the pant leg at the moment of ejection and drag you along to grim destruction. Okay, that's probably enough for tonight. We'll save the rest of the story for tomorrow night. Don't you wonder how it turns out?